Just over an hour ago, and 1,500 miles away, the world was implored to listen and watch Red Square. This is the victory parade in honor of the 77th anniversary of the victory in the Great Patriotic War. But really what President Putin wants is the Russian people and the world to be awed and intimidated by the ongoing memorial to militarism. And I believe that his ongoing and unprovoked conflict in Ukraine does nothing but dishonor those same soldiers. Both the ones marching across Red Square as I speak and all the forebearers they supposedly march to commemorate. Let me be clear, it's right to honor the sacrifice of those many, many millions who contributed to Europe's liberation from fascism and the Nazi reign of terror. It was a period of immeasurable destruction, atrocities and human suffering, particularly in Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union, including Ukraine. There will be no mention today in Moscow, however, about much of the suffering was self-inflicted by Stalin and his generals. While in Moscow in February, I accepted the honor of laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier beneath the vast red walls of the Kremlin itself. It stands in memory of those Russians who lost their lives fighting the invading Nazis. As the inscription proclaims, the names are unknown, but their deeds are immortal. As I stood in front of the honor guard, themselves so young with such uncertain fates, even those few weeks later, my thoughts were for the ordinary Russian soldiers, so many of them conscripts who found themselves in a battle for personal and national survival against the Nazi regime. I thought about the scale of the suffering across the Soviet Union, but also how the suffering was used, then as it is now, to cover up the inadequacy of those ruling in safety and comfort from behind the Kremlin walls above and within the general staff nearby. Most Soviet conscripts hadn't a chance. The suffering was often needless. In the absence of effective military leadership, many of their best officers were purged by the NKVD for counter-revolutionary crimes, while barrier troops executed swathes of retreating soldiers deemed unpatriotic for failing to press on in the face of unassailable odds. Fear and sycophancy dictated behaviors then, and today's Russian armed forces still carry that Soviet imprint, the imprint of immorality and corruption. Through their invasion of Ukraine, Putin, his inner circle and his generals are now mirroring fascism and tyranny of 77 years ago, repeating the errors of the last century's totalitarian regimes. They are showing the same disregard for human lives, national sovereignty and the rules-based international system, the very system, not least the United Nations Charter itself, that we conceived together and for which we fought and were victorious together, in the hope of saving future generations from the scourge of war. Their unprovoked, illegal, senseless and self-defeating invasion of Ukraine, their attacks against innocent civilians and their homes, their widespread atrocities, including the deliberate targeting of women and children, they all corrupt the memory of past sacrifices and Russia's once proud global reputation. The response to this failure by the Russian forces on the ground in Ukraine has in itself been a disgraceful display of self-preservation, doubling down on failure, anger, dishonesty, and scapegoating. The behavior of the Russian General Staff has shown that their own self-preservation comes first. War crimes, targeting civilians, and the casualty rates in their own battalion tactical groups are all secondary concerns. The truth is that Russia's General Staff are failing, and they know it. While I'm angry at the behavior of their army and do not in any way remove culpability from the ordinary soldier for what horrors they are inflicting, I'm equally angry at the General Staff's absence of integrity and leadership that should go up as well as down and should be expected of all professional military officers. All professional soldiers should be appalled at the behavior of the Russian army. Not only are they engaged in illegal invasion and war crimes, but their top brass have failed their own rank and file to the extent they should face court-martial.